Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
I'm with Derek O'Brien in Kolkata, the spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress as well as the parliamentary party leader. And we are talking on the last phase of the 8-phase, very, very long, bruising campaign of the West Bengal elections. April 29th, Derek O'Brien, welcome to The Print.
Thank you, Jyoti. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And I love the bookshelf at the back. In fact, in this Zoom age, can you imagine we get into people's living rooms, see their bookshelves? Wow, that's a wonderful bookshelf you have at the back. Not shelf, actually.
Thank you, Derek. It's my daughter's room.
This is in a Zoom era where we all now know what are the different bookshelves that people have at home.
Well, your very relaxed manner indicates, Derek, you seem confident, you sound confident of winning this election, but it has been a bruising one. In the shadow of COVID, you've had 4 deaths of candidates, including Kajol Sinha, who has unfortunately just lost his life. How are you looking at this very, very bruising campaign with a mighty force called the BJP?
It's been a long campaign. It's been a brutal campaign because when you're fighting the world's largest and most destructive political force, the BJP, you can't be cocky, you can't be arrogant, and you can't think it's easy. It's very, very difficult. They have more money than any other political party in India. They have the most allies. All their old allies left, but all the new allies are there. And the Election Commission is a disgrace. In fact,
how can you say these things about an election commission that is perhaps one of India's most important institutions?
We have a lot of respect for the institution, but it's the people who make the institution. Can you imagine? No one bothered to ask this election commission is that how come you've had 4 phases out of the 8 in West Bengal, phases 5, 6, 7, 8, without the third EC. There are only 2 ECs. They didn't even replace. You know, Modi makes an announcement, virtual campaign from 2 hours from now, he'll do virtual campaign, and then 2 hours later, EC gives the verdict, saying yes, virtual campaign. We've written a few thousand letters to them. We've written hundreds of letters to them only on one subject, to club the phases together. I'm sorry to say, I mean, it's like really bad. Maybe when the new Central Vista project is ready, which is such an important project for Modi and Shah, maybe they'll have one garden at the back next to the Prime Minister's office where they'll have peacocks. He can feed the peacocks. And I'm hearing from my sources, like sources as in ANI sources, that there'll be another room attached to the Home Minister's room for poodles. Those are pet poodles. That's the Election Commission, the 3 commissioners.
Derek, you're being, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you are being unkind. But let me ask you about...
Why am I being unkind? Why am I being unkind? This is serious. That people have died. The Bengal death rate on March the 10th was 3,000. Yeah, maybe I was being facetious. You're right. I should be serious. Modi and Shah have blood on their hands. What the hell were they doing with an 8-phase election? The argument that in 2016 there were 7 phases in Bengal, so now there'll be 8. 2 big points there.
But why did you agree?
In 2000,
you're the ruling party in Bengal. Why did you agree?
We had a press conference half an hour after the EC announced the dates. Mamata Banerjee had a press conference. 2 important things to remember. There was no pandemic in 2016. And number 2, look at the Maoist violence figures in 2011. A few hundred, and look at it now, it is 0. Let me finish with the Election Commission. Calcutta, first time in the history since independence, an Indian city. You can imagine if you ask Delhi with 7 seats to vote on 3 different days. It's absurd. Calcutta is voting on 2 days. The district is voting on 3 days. This is for the Election Commission. Has done it for the BJP, of the BJP, by the BJP.
Yes, but
there is no difference. There is no difference between the Election Commission and the BJP, but I'm not surprised, Jyoti. I'll tell you why.
No, but Mamata Banerjee...
combination of Modi and Shah, who have also ruined another great institution. And I'm sorry that I'm a part of that institution, but I have to say it's completely ruined. Parliament is ruined. There are no rules in Parliament. God bless the soul of Arun Jaitley.
We'll talk about that, Derek. But my question to you is that
But I'm not angry. I'm quite
even,
relaxed today
even
because
Mamata Banerjee's press conference where you protested the EC's decision to hold an 8-phase long campaign. I mean, it was a case of protesting a little bit too late. You know,
when can you protest?
it is a bit like the lady doth protest too much.
Listen, when can you protest? With the umpire?
Can you protest in front of the EC?
No, it's their bat, it's their ball, their bat, their ball, their pitch, their wickets, their stumps, their umpire. They are the umpires of the match. Listen, Jyoti, forget about what I say, leave it. You ask general people about what is the role of these great institutions. They're sending the CBI, the ED, the IT one day before a vote. Today is the 8th phase of the vote. Yesterday, our district president in Birbhum gets a notice. Then somebody else gets in Tamil Nadu, look what happened when Stalin's daughter got a notice. Listen, this is the Modi-Shah classic model. The best part about it is that there's no fig of pretense also. They're so open about it. They're completely open. So now what do? You have to ridicule them. There's no other way to do it.
Yes, but the opposition the opposition that we see, even if you describe it as it is, the opposition is still pretty divided. The Trinamool Congress in Bengal, the DFP in Tamil Nadu.
Opposition is not divided at all. For the opposition, look what this opposition is up against. Listen, Uddhav Thackeray, Rahul Gandhi, Mamata Banerjee, and I can add a few names, Vijayan from Kerala, Baghel. These are not the people who are Prime Minister of India. Did any of these people announce demonetization? Idiotic, moronic idea. The Joker announced it at 8 o'clock without consulting everyone. And I have all respect for the Prime Minister, don't get me wrong. I have all respect for the Home Minister.
Derek, the point
I have no respect for Amit Shah and Modi. They are con men. They are thugs. So who announced
demonetization? But Derek, one second. The point is that they have been freely and fairly elected by the people of India, both in 2014 and in 2019. In fact, they came back with a bigger mandate in 2019. You know all this. You're the leader of your parliamentary party in Delhi, in the parliament. So I don't need to tell you that they are a political party that is rightfully there in parliament with the mandate that they have. So the question is that you are a divided opposition inside parliament and outside, but here we're talking about West Bengal. And you are conceding that the BJP is the biggest opposition party that you're facing today.
What do you mean I'm conceding? What can I do? My vote share of Trinamool Congress, our vote share went up by 2%. From 42, we went to 44. The CPM dropped from 30 to 7%. The Congress dropped from 10 to 5%. So somebody had to take the opposition space in Bengal. You're blaming Trinamool for that? No.
Yes, I am. Actually, I am, because voters are saying that the Trinamool Congress in the first 5 years did a lot of work, but in the second 5, you actually dropped the ball on a lot of counts. And you know what those are. It's cut money, it's corruption, it's not giving the Amphan cyclone dues were not, people didn't get them at the time that they wanted. So there is a lot of anger against the Trinamool Congress.
Cut money. I mean, it's fabulous. Please, Jyoti, I know you want
to... It's a Bengali phrase, and to...
No, it's not at all a Bengali phrase or an English phrase. It's a BJP phrase. Please watch the film. I'm sure you have watched it. The Social Network. This is what the BJP do. They can create a phrase, and they make it. But let's talk about cut money. I really want people watching this show to know about cut money. You want to know about cut money? I'll tell you about cut money.
Okay.
Cut money is when you buy vaccines for the central government for 150 rupees, and the same vaccine manufacturer sells it to the state government at 400 rupees and to the private hospitals at 600.
No, Derek, you're not answering the question.
1 minute. Let me tell you what. Since you brought up cut money, what cut money was Trinamool? Trinamool is a little Modi ka dukan bolta hai na Kolkata mein. But we are a little retail. We have to learn from BJP. I'll tell you more about cut money. Cut money, so many other examples of cut money.
So are you denying that the Amphan relief did not reach the people?
I'll come to Amphan. I'll answer Amphan just now. 62 rupees for every 100 rupees which go into electoral bonds. Go into who? Into the BJP's account. Number 3, I challenge this government to tell us how much of CSR funds have gone into PM care. You're talking about cut money. Modi and Shah are the patron saints of cut money.
Listen, as an opposition,
I'm telling you
in the
about
parliament in Delhi and in the ruling party in Bengal, you're entitled to your views. But the point is that
I'll tell you about Amphan since you asked me about Amphan.
Yes.
Amphan, couple of things about Amphan. Amphan is, for Bengal is the only place in the world where COVID for 4 months was priority number 2. Amphan was difficult. It was priority number 1. It was tragic, the kind of devastation. Trinamool Congress, the difference between Trinamool Congress and the BJP is that we make mistakes. We acknowledge our mistakes. We don't have hubris. We have humility to get feedback from the ground, to understand the assessment, and then go back to people 8 months before an election and say, hey, listen, we are not the perfect party. Down the line, yes. Not Mamata Di. Down the line, someone would have taken some cut money. So listen, so we bring you a door-to-door initiative.
So you made a mistake on the Amphan relief. You're conceding.
You have to say it wasn't perfect. We're not, listen, we're not Modi and Shah. That's the difference. We have the humility. At least acknowledge, give us the credit for that.
So you have apologized.
They'll bulldoze everybody. They don't have the humility. They intimidate you. And what are you talking about? Normal people being intimidated. The journalists get intimidated. The media owners get intimidated.
Derek, the question is, did you apologize? The question is, did you apologize to the people of Bengal for not just the delay in the Amphan relief, but of the corruption that a lot of that relief was in?
What is this corruption?
The corruption is that the money that was allocated did not reach the people, and that there were people who took that.
All of you, I'm giving you recommended viewing. You have to go watch the social network. The BJP narrative has become the narrative of every single journalist living and breathing the air in Delhi and Noida. What corruption? You tell me. I've admitted to retail corruption, small corruption down the line. You have no answers to the other corruption, which I can tell you. Here is corruption. I'll give you an example of corruption. When the UPA was in power and we were not friends of the UPA, we walked out of government. Find out every year how many CAG reports are there. And now in the last 2 years, how many CAG reports have been. These are the hard questions. Don't ask the hard, you ask the questions to Derek O'Brien or to Mamata Banerjee, Uddhav Thackeray, Rahul Gandhi. They're not supposed to answer. You do one thing. You're a senior journalist in Delhi, Ms. JYOTI Malhotra. You do one thing. Use your influence.
Okay.
Get any journalist to ask one question to Modi. 7 years you have failed. All of you have failed. And you're asking us all these questions.
That's true. We are asking the opposition in Delhi, but you're in the ruling party. You're in the ruling party in Bengal.
Rahul Gandhi is ruling the country, is in the cabinet. Mamata Banerjee, Uddhav Thackeray. You're asking us a tough question.
So Derek, tell me something.
Go and ask these questions to Modi and Shah. Why did he have a Central Vista project of 20,000 crores, ruin the heritage, ruin the environment, ruin 20,000 crores could have vaccinated the whole country. Go and ask Modi, what the hell was he doing on demonetization? Go and ask Modi, what happened to the farmer bill? What does he mean by putting the bill on pause? Why? Go and ask him one question only. Why does he want to rewrite the Constitution of India? Why? I have to ask the question. Anyway, JYOTI, chill, Baba. All the exit polls will come out today. Then after that,
Derek, the question. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. You're a member of the ruling party in Bengal, and you're absolutely right. The journalists here and elsewhere in the country must ask questions of their rulers, of the people who govern them. So let me ask you about West Bengal. You are the ruling party. You've ruled for 10 years in this state. How confident are you of winning, or do you feel that it could be touch and go?
You see, JYOTI, I'm not a apologist. The HM is the hobby minister. Or sometimes instead of going around throwing petals from trucks, he was doing this. First day he came and said, we're going to get 200, BJP is going to get, said they're going to get 200 seats. Then our spokespersons went on the channel and they all disagreed with him. They're saying, no. Why is he saying 200 out of 294? He's completely wrong. They're going to get 290 out of 294 seats. So it's big talk is easy. I waited for so long. We waited for so long. All I can tell you, in fact, Everyone said this is a difficult election. I don't think this is the most difficult. This is one of the world's top 5 most dirtiest elections. Means the kind of muck these guys have done. They've sent in the central forces. We have no problem with the CISF as people. They're doing their job. But the way these guys have done it, it's completely uneven. But I still feel.
In what way? What does that mean?
Let me give you some examples.
Yeah.
Firstly, shouldn't these people be tested before they come here? Number 2, you tell me, what's the language problem? Imagine a CISF guy from UP. He's coming here and trying to explain to voters how not everybody understands Hindi in these parts. I'll give you the other example. To me, this is the most unfair part of the election is the EC. Nobody has written about this. We've written letters. Listen to this. JYOTI, if you were living, let's say, in Lajpat Nagar, you could be a booth agent for whichever party chooses you in Lajpat Nagar. That's the rule of the EC. But this time, only for these elections, the rule got changed. JYOTI lives in Lajpat Nagar, but JYOTI can be an election agent for, say, down in Kalkaji. How? These rules are crazy. These rules are not allowed. But these rules have been made they're so desperate to win Bengal. And I just hope the people of Bengal know, because the people of Bengal will laugh at you. If you say Tagore was born in Shantiniketan, they'll laugh at you. If you put the wrong statue, garland the wrong statue of Birsa Munda, and they'll laugh at you. And they're not laugh, they'll be angry with you if you, as the Prime Minister of this country, say, Didi, oh Didi, Didi, this is catcalling a woman. This is not done. But what will Modi know about it?
Was the Trinamool Congress upset about the way the Prime Minister called her in his rallies?
Not about Trinamool Congress being upset or MPs or MLAs. The people of Bengal were upset. And the people of Bengal also know that who is this man making the catcalls. And I always learned one thing in Parliament from a BJP. A person is, Derek, never do your stuff, but never get personal. I've always maintained the rule. But this election, I had to break that rule because we have to say, you're getting surprised that Modi was catcalling women. Modi uses his mother only for photo opportunities. What does he know about women?
Let's not talk about family members, Derek. I think
you can talk about, no, one minute, family members. You can talk about my party chief family member openly. You can call him a cheat, a cut money specialist, and you didn't ask me the question about Abhishek Banerjee. I'm bringing into this conversation. You can pass all those comments. He's an elected MP twice over. You want to character assassinate him. I'll challenge you, Amit Shah and Modi, for Abhishek Banerjee, who you keep character assassinating.
Abhishek Banerjee is in politics. Abhishek Banerjee is in politics. The Prime Minister's family is not in politics.
So the Prime Minister should not be talking about women in that tone.
That's a separate question. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Why? Obviously, Mamata Banerjee herself said, I've known Mamata Banerjee for 20 years. She's never made a personal comment. Then she had to say Mamata Banerjee's word. Okay, he said this about women. But what does he know about women? First, let him take care of his wife. Did she say
no, let's not. I think let's not talk about
both ways, Ms. Malhotra. It cuts both ways. But I will tell you something. And I'm not at all angry, and I'm not saying that. There is some level of decency. And I don't mean only about how you treat your mother or your wife. No, leave it. The decency in Parliament, I'm telling you, I'm comparatively, I'd call myself not a new parliamentarian or an old parliamentarian. I'm in the middle, like 10, 12 years in Parliament. I see it in Central Hall. You know, there can be some decency. Why no? Why isn't there that decency? Why this?
In what way? How are you saying that? I'm sure that you and your friends in the BJP get together, have a cup of tea or coffee.
Friends of BJP, friends of who? Me or you? Or what do you?
I'm saying people, whether it's in the opposition or in the ruling party in Delhi, I'm sure you guys get together, have a cup of chai in Central Hall, and also exchange notes and pleasantries.
I have to say this. There used to be a time that would happen, but then this is not Vajpayee's BJP, which was consensus. This is Modi and Shah's BJP, which is conquest. This is not Arun Jaitley or Sushma Swaraj's kind of BJP, where you just describe the situation where you could sit down and have a coffee and biscuit there. Here, the BJP in Central Hall, they'll run away. They'll be scared. They'll be scared to have a coffee. Bol dega koi, Modi ko bol dega. So they're all scared. They're all scared of these two. You see, I'll really tell you what happens in Central Hall should stay in Central Hall. There is only one or two people approved by Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi who can come and have coffee and toast with us in Central Hall. Rest of them are not allowed or prefer not to be seen with us. Have you seen the parliamentary party meetings, the standing committee meetings? I mean, standing committee meetings have become like party forum. If you are in this, they don't understand what is a standing committee. They don't understand that standing committee.
What do these BJP MPs say to you privately and off the record? Do they concede that they are not being, that the reason that they're not in Parliament, that they're not in Central Hall, chatting over a cup of chai? Do they talk about these things?
You ask them now. Why should I become the? I always say.
You're an insider, Derek. I'm an outsider. I'm a journalist.
I'm not a fly on the wall. I'm there. But
Exactly.
I will say one thing, and I'm not saying this with any anger or angst. There was a basic courtesy when Sushma ji was around. When we didn't, I completely detest the ideology, and I'm on the other side of the ideology of Sushma Swaraj, may her soul rest in peace, and Arun Jaitley. But that didn't stop us from exchanging basic decency, basic courtesy, basic kindness. Of course, we were political rivals. We were never political enemies. So that is a big difference, and it's really sad. And as I said, I'm not a new parliamentarian, nor can I think I'm a veteran 5 times.
Okay, so I want to come back to, I'd like to come back
in the middle, and that is really sad. I mean, why? What on earth? Now you come to the parliament serious stuff. The farmer bills. I mean, now you tell me.
Derek, I need to come back to West Bengal. I'd like to bring you back to the West Bengal election and ask you, what is the importance of this election? I mean, does it matter if the Trinamool Congress loses, or does it matter if the BJP wins? After all, it's just another election, isn't it?
Is it really just another election?
I'm asking you.
When these guys Modi and Shah have forgotten all about the pandemic, vaccination, so physical distancing, everything. Election Commission were told what they do this, so they did it for them. They're campaigning here. They're spending, or there are 25 ministers who came, half a dozen chief ministers. How can you call it just another election? This became their priority, and I shouldn't be laughing about it, but this became their priority, and that's why this country is in such a mess handling the pandemic.
You could lose. You could lose this election.
Mamata Banerjee is there, and there are people like us who not only me, but there are others also in Lok Sabha. You look at our Lok Sabha team, you look at our Rajya Sabha team, you look at our MLAs, you look at most importantly, you look at Mamata Banerjee. We don't take SH1T from anybody, and you can't throw CBI or ED at Derek O'Brien and 50 people from Trinamool. So don't give us CBI, ED, take it and shoom.
Okay, let's break down.
We like to believe that this election is very, very important, because the way they've handled A, demonetization, B, the way they've handled the implementation of GST, not the execution, not the passing of GST, we wanted that, the way they've handled or mishandled the farmer bills, and now the pandemic. If the election, if they lose these states, there are two things, and I don't want to go ahead of the story, but there are two things which bound to happen. Somebody in the BJP, she or he, will put up his hand and say, enough is enough, Modi and Shah. Forget about opposition. Opposition to bolega. And the second point, Jyoti, is that whichever way you look at it, this prime minister has to stop being a PR minister.
Okay, what is the second most important thing?
The second most important thing, there will be a belief in the opposition, that self-belief, that these guys, when they come to you with everybody against you, the EC, the agencies, the money, the media, everybody, then they're still beatable. Once you believe somebody is beatable, but I don't want to go ahead of the story.
It will take you 7 years to arrive at that self-belief.
No, it's not about self-belief. We've always had the self-belief. I think we have always had the self-belief, but I think what we have failed as an opposition to do, and I can speak on Trinamool's behalf, these guys have used certain delivery techniques. Sometimes you don't have to have a great product. If the advertising is good enough, you go, but then you get caught eventually because the product has to deliver. One, and two, if you see some of the stuff which the BJP have said in this campaign, it's very, very divisive. It is polarized. On this issue, they cannot win the election. What is that issue? That what have we done in Bengal under Mamata, with Mamata Banerjee for the last 10 years? This is what we've delivered. Have we delivered on jobs, on health, on education, on social sector schemes, on housing, on electricity, on women empowerment, on women's safety, on employment, on IT? And what have we delivered in 10 years and promised? And what have you delivered in the last 7 years? You promised, but you haven't delivered. They will never debate this. They can't.
Okay,
I'm telling you, open debate. Anybody, come and debate with us. You choose the spot.
Yeah.
They will only come on one issue. They'll come on one issue. They'll bring into the narrative Pakistan, anti-national, Hindu, Muslim, Christian. This is like.
Is that working though? Is that working?
You see, it doesn't matter what works in the short term.
No, but is it working in the short term? Is it working in this election?
It must have been working in the short term, because you just told me, you reminded me that in 2014 they got so many seats. In 2019 they got so many seats. So who am I to say whether it's working or not working? So if you're getting the number of seats, but are they? That doesn't matter. The role of the opposition is still, and this is what we need to do, irrespective of what happens on May 2nd. The role of the opposition is to keep reminding this government of only one thing, nothing else. Your manifesto is secondary. The Constitution of India is first. That's the job of the opposition.
Okay, let me break this down in Bengal into 2 or 3 questions. And the first being that Bhaijan that we talk about, Abbas Siddiqui of the Furfura Sharif, the cleric, the head of the Sharif. What has been the role of Abbas Siddiqui and his party in this? Has it split the so-called Muslim vote? We keep talking about 27%.
That answer you will get on second. The answer you'll get on second, please wait till the second. But before you get the answer from me, the money has gone into his bank account or into his suitcase account. BJP have paid for that. So they have done their job. Okay. So he's been paid, and I still believe that the people of.
You think the BJP has paid Abbas Siddiqui?
Of course. I have no doubt in my mind he's been paid to cut the vote. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. 100%. Will he win a seat? No. People of Bengal are sharper than that. Will he win a seat? No. He's paid by the BJP. The BJP do this, not by check, by suitcase account. But why are you surprised? This is their style. This is their style everywhere. Not only them. Why are you only talking about him? What about the other guys in Trinamool who, by their own admission, we didn't say, by their own admission, saying that we've been in touch with Amit Shah since 2014, 2015, and in touch, and 6 months before the elections, they go away. We wish them well. Good luck to them and their families.
Are you talking about Shivendu Adhikari and Rajiv Banerjee?
Generally, leaders go, workers don't shift like that. Yeah, so they've all fought elections. We'll see on second how many of them.
Did you feel that this was a betrayal on the part of somebody like Shivendu Adhikari, who was so close to Mamata Banerjee and a big leader in the Trinamool?
There are 2 phrases you've used I find very interesting. Quote unquote, he was so close to Mamata Banerjee. Mm-hmm. That's an assumption. He was always he was always a suspect. Take it from me. All this so close, no. Number 1. Number 2, what did you say? Big leader. We will see big leader. First you win your own seat, then you win your district, then you win the state, then you be a big leader. So big leader is, there's a difference between perception and reality.
But let me say that more than 150 people left the Trinamool Congress on the eve of this election to join the BJP. That's not a small number. And a lot of these people also got tickets from the BJP. So what does this show? That the Trinamool Congress is as much as a centralized party, which doesn't allow leaders to grow under its shade.
Do you know out of how many of those people were not going to get tickets in Trinamool in the first place?
How many?
Yeah, you know how many of these are BJP gives the Congress party and Mr. Stalin's party and this Shiv Sena lots of lectures about dynasty. Look at the BJP's track record of dynasty. Nobody will ask them that one MLA from Nandigram, Shubhendu, his father is an MP, his younger brother is an MP, his elder brother is a councillor, and why leave the sister-in-law out? She's also a councillor. You not ask about all the BJP guys, full of dynasty there. Nobody asked about who daddy of Anurag Thakur was, who the daddy of Piyush Goyal was, who the son of...
We know that, Derek. The question which you're not answering is...
They are the party with I'll tell you, I'll give you a good idea. Tell the BJP one thing, bring a bill in parliament. We'll support it. I promise you we will support it. That no dynasty is allowed. Chalo, bring it. Bring a bill. Trinamool will support.
No. Be that as it may, that's between you and the BJP.
You are one of Delhi's most seasoned reporters who happens to be a woman.
Okay.
Where is the women's reservation bill? How come only Trinamool has 40% MPs who are women? The other people don't have the women's reservation bill. You talk about women's empowerment. You talk about women's empowerment. We have Kanya Shri, which can.
Derek, I have only.
Beti Bachao.
Derek, I have two questions left for you only. The first is, which you didn't answer. Why is that 150 people?
All your questions. If you ask me again, I will answer.
Okay. Why did more than 150 people leave the Trinamool Congress to join the BJP on the eve of this very important election?
Bullet points.
Doesn't that show...
Bullet points one.
A lack of confidence in the...
Most of them were not getting tickets. 2, 3, 4 major ones were all linked to cases of CBI, ED and all those agencies. 2, 3, if they really as big as you make them out to be, election results are coming out now. 4, did the core of the Trinamool Congress leave? Should I give you a list of 20 people who did not leave? Did Saugata Roy leave? Did Sudeep Bandyopadhyay leave? Did Kalyan Banerjee leave? Did Kakoli leave? Did Mahua Mohitra leave? Did Derek O'Brien leave? Did Shobhande Chattopadhyay leave? Did Subrata Mukherjee leave? No. Do-Teen Naam. So those 2-3 names are given to the Noida TV channels and her. So we'll see how big these paper tigers are.
Okay, my second question is about the Muslim vote, which you have partially answered. You talked about Abbas Siddiqui. But when you look at the Murshidabad Malda belt, which has traditionally voted Congress, which is now part of the JOT, the CPM Congress, Abbas Siddiqui, Chamukta Morcha, are you concerned that may also cut into your vote?
See, we don't look at this Muslim vote, this thing, Christian vote, Hindu vote, no. When you get the blue health card in Bengal, or when you get the student credit card, which gives you 10 lakhs credit, no guarantor, 4% interest, or when you get 12,000 rupees put into your bank account, or 6,000 rupees every year put into your bank account, or a cycle to go to school and the school bag, do you think we look at who's Muslim, who's Hindu, no, we don't look at it. This is not Bengal for you. This is not Bengal for you. You know, I mean, if this was Bengal, what the hell am I doing in Rajya Sabha as an elected MP? My community is a few thousand in Bengal. Only Mamata Banerjee can get somebody like me elected, because it's not about that. This is about Bengal. This is not Amit Shah, Modi's idea of Gujarat, where a Christian man living in a Hindu locality, that's me, grew up in a Hindu locality on a street named after a Muslim. This is Bengal. Amit Shah and Modi will not understand this about Calcutta. They will never understand this about Bengal. That is ours. And that is why you all keep saying minority vote, minority vote. How 27% of the minorities are in Bengal. Muslim minority is 27%. How does Trinamool Congress get 45, 46% of the vote every time?
So are you concerned that this time around you may not get the Muslim vote as much as you had in the previous election.
We don't look at votes like this, Muslim vote, Hindu vote. That is BJP style. You know what the BJP, their view on India is? You know what their view on the Citizenship Amendment Act is? They're the same people who say they ask for votes in the name of Hindus. They're the same people who detained 17 lakh Bengali Hindus. One day I will tell you what was discussed at the Citizenship Amendment Parliamentary Standing Committee meetings and what went on there. So please, Mamata Banerjee will say the Chandi part at an election rally, then people will get upset with her. If she
So
says
that's the point. Why is it that her private faith is now being displayed publicly? She never did this before.
She's always said this, and this is one of my favorite quotes of Mamata Di, that your religion is private, festivals are for everyone. Now,
reciting the Chandi part in public in the time of an election is hardly, it's not a festival.
Because Amit Shah and Modi don't have the IPR, they don't have the intellectual property right on the Chandi part. What's their problem? Why is it hurting them? Is it? They didn't like it. Why? What's wrong? What's wrong with that? Will you have, there are so many other ways, you know, there are so many other little nuances. When somebody dies, is there anything wrong in saying Om Shanti? No. Is there anything wrong in saying rest in peace? No. But there's a nuance there. And I think in India, this is, see, Jyoti, on a more, leave the politics and leave all this out. You know, that as somebody like, with a name like O'Brien, with some great-grandfather of mine, may his soul rest in peace, married a lady from Bengal, can actually be sent to parliament for 2 terms elected. This is the greatness of our country. We are not Pakistan, yaar. We are not Pakistan. And this is the beauty of our nation. And one day we will realize this. And Modi and Shah will have to realize this, and the people will realize this. Indira Gandhi realized this in 19...
Okay, so Derek, last question. If you win Bengal, will this be the turning
last
point?
Question? Okay, go ahead, please.
One second. If you win Bengal, will this be a turning point in the opposition's fight back for India, if you like, against the BJP? But if you lose Bengal, what happens?
You see, Jyoti, since you asked us the last question, this is phase 8 of the elections.
Yeah.
We've run a great campaign. Mamata Di, not only at the leadership level, at a physical level, she's led this campaign. And one day I really want to talk about the physical endurance you have to have.
Yeah.
And hats off to this woman who's run this campaign on a wheelchair. So whatever happens on May 2 will happen on May 2. I firmly believe 3 things. 1, we will win Bengal. 2, Mamata Banerjee will be the chief minister. Obviously, BJP haven't even announced a chief minister. They have to announce leader of opposition. And 3, the 2 turncoats will be ministers who went, they will lose. And the minister who is in the union government, poor fellow, he got demoted now to fight an MLA election. That poor minister, at least he will lose his seat, so he'll keep his bungalow in Delhi. This much I can confirm.
Well, on this note, Derek O'Brien, thank you so much for your time. You have fought a very, very long and bruising campaign in the shadow of COVID. And we've seen how Mamata Banerjee, when she was hurt badly a few weeks ago,
and I love the Freudian slip,
continued to fight this long battle. But all the best for May 2, and may the best political party win. All the best.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you.